a WikiVidi documentaries production. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Enjoy. Indigenous Peoples Day. Indigenous Peoples Day is a holiday that celebrates the indigenous peoples of America. It is celebrated across the United States and is an official city and state holiday in various localities. It began as a counter-celebration held on the same day as the U.S. federal holiday of Columbus Day, which honors European explorer Christopher Columbus, who represents the violent history of the colonization in the Western Hemisphere. To many, Indigenous Peoples Day is intended to celebrate Native Americans and commemorate their shared history and culture. The holiday was first changed in South Dakota, where in 1989 Lynn Hart, working with Governor Mickelson, put in place a resolution for the second Monday of October as Native American Day. As the beginning of the Year of Reconciliation in 1990, it was instituted in Berkeley, California in 1992, coinciding with the 500th anniversary of the arrival of Christopher Columbus in the Americas in 1492. It later spread to Santa Cruz, California in 1994, and then to various other cities and states beginning in the mid to late 2010s. Indigenous Peoples Day is held on the second Monday of October. It is similar to Native American Day, observed in September in California and Tennessee, and the same day as Indigenous Peoples Day in South Dakota. History. In 1977, the International Conference on Discrimination Against Indigenous Populations in the Americas, sponsored by the United Nations in Geneva, Switzerland, began to discuss replacing Columbus Day in the United States with a celebration to be known as Indigenous Peoples Day. Similarly, Native American groups staged actions in Boston, Massachusetts instead of Thanksgiving, which has been celebrated there to mark collaboration between English colonists and Native Americans in the first years. In July 1990, at the First Continental Conference on 500 Years of Indian Resistance in Quito, Ecuador, representatives of Indian groups throughout the Americas agreed that they would mark 1992, the 500th anniversary of the first of the voyages of Christopher Columbus, as a year to promote continental unity and liberation. After the conference, attendees from Northern California organized protests against the quincentennial jubilee that had been organized by the United States Congress for the San Francisco Bay Area on Columbus Day 1992. It was to include replicas of Columbus ships sailing under the Golden Gate Bridge and reenacting their discovery of America. The delegates formed the Bay Area Indian Alliance and in turn, the Resistance 500 Task Force. It promoted the idea that Columbus' discovery of inhabited lands and subsequent European colonization of these areas had resulted in the genocide of indigenous peoples by decisions of colonial and national governments. In 1992, the group convinced the City Council of Berkeley, California, to declare October 12th as a Day of Solidarity with Indigenous People, and 1992 the Year of Indigenous People. The city implemented related programs in schools, libraries, and museums. The city symbolically renamed Columbus Day as Indigenous Peoples Day, beginning in 1992 to protest the historical conquest of North America by Europeans, and to call attention to the losses suffered by the Native American peoples and their cultures through diseases, warfare, massacres, and forced assimilation. Get Lost Columbus, an opera by a Native American composer, was produced that day. Berkeley has celebrated Indigenous Peoples Day ever since. Beginning in 1993, Berkeley has also held an annual powwow and festival on Indigenous Peoples Day. In the years following Berkeley's action, other local governments and institutions have either renamed or cancelled Columbus Day, either to celebrate Native American history and cultures, to avoid celebrating Columbus and the European colonization of the Americas, or due to raised controversy over the legacy of Columbus. Several other California cities, including Richmond, Santa Cruz, and Sebastopol, now celebrate Indigenous Peoples Day and encourage people to donate to a neighboring tribe and recognize the trauma and pain indigenous peoples have been subjected to by colonizers. At least 4 states do not celebrate Columbus Day. South Dakota officially celebrates Native American Day instead. Various tribal governments in Oklahoma designate the day as Native American Day, or have renamed the day after their own tribes. In 2013, the California state legislature considered a bill, AB 55, to formally replace Columbus Day with Native American Day, but did not pass it. On August 30, 2017, following similar affirmative votes in Oberlin, Ohio, followed later by Bangor, Maine in the earlier weeks of the same month, the Los Angeles City Council voted in favor of replacing Columbus Day with Indigenous Peoples Day. Children in schools have been taught about Christopher Columbus as a hero, but as explained in the book Rethinking Columbus, The Next 500 Years, many feel that children should be taught about the truth of Christopher Columbus and what he has done to the native people of the Americas. Other celebrations. Numerous efforts in the Americas have honored Native Americans as part of Columbus Day, or by designating two holidays for the same date, especially since Native American activism has increased since the 1960s and 1970s. A variety of protests have been staged against celebrating Columbus Day. These have included mock trials of Christopher Columbus in St. Paul, Minnesota, and protests and disruptions of Columbus Day parades in the United States. Indigenous peoples in other nations have also lobbied to have holidays established to recognize their contributions and history. For instance, Brazil celebrates National Indigenous Peoples Day on April 19. In the Philippines, the National Commission on Indigenous Peoples, as well as various local indigenous towns, designated October 29, 2008, as Indigenous Peoples Day. Brought to you by WikiVidi Documentaries. Would you like to know more?